This is why speakers bureaus suck. Okay, now let me be more specific. Speakers bureaus suck for everyone but the Speakers Bureau and the bureau darlings. Bureau darlings are the 10 or 20 speakers that bureaus book over and over again. Although they list maybe thousands and thousands of speakers, but what they don't tell new speakers is they're booking the same people over and over and over. That's good for the bureau. It's good, smart business for the bureau. How do I know? We've owned a bureau for 15 years. We've been on the other side of the coin. I'm both a speaker and a bureau. And so I understand how it works. It's great for the bureau, bad for the speaker, unless you're a bureau darling, okay? Then it's pretty good. The downside of being even a bureau darling is the Speakers Bureau is charging between 25 and 30% of your fee. And if you do any back-end work, where the real money is in this business, in other words, back-end being all the business that you do with the client after the speech, the bureau typically wants 25 or 30% of that business, which is the reason I hardly ever worked with speakers bureaus in my 25 years, except the one that I own, because they always wanted way too much of the back end, where the big money, where the $1 million contracts really live and breathe. The speeches are just the beginning of this business when you really understand how the money works. So what do you do if you're not counting on speakers bureaus to book you? Well, what you want to do is learn how to sell. You've got to learn how to sell. Now, if you're saying, I don't like selling, selling's the worst thing in the world, I hate to sell, get used to it. You want to learn to sell, specifically corporate executives that can pay a world-class speaking fee, as well as back-end coaching, consulting, and training contracts. This is how speakers become multimillionaires. Even if you did get listed with a bureau and became a bureau darling, and I know lots and lots of them, it's a terrible business model for speakers. Here's why. You're effectively a hamster on a wheel. You don't really have a business, you have a job. You're running around the country, they're booking you like crazy, you give all the leads back to the bureau, and in exchange, which is fine, they keep booking you. That's great. The problem is you're going from baggage claim to baggage claim to baggage claim, giving 45-minute speeches, making very little impact because nobody changes their life, contrary to popular belief, in 45 minutes. It does not happen. What happens when real change happens, it takes years. That's why consulting and coaching and training is so much more effective than keynote speaking. Keynote speaking is great. I've delivered $16 million in keynote speeches. I mean, I'm in favor. I'm pro keynote speaking. But it has a place, and its place is awareness. You're making the audience aware of some concepts or some philosophies or strategies or ideas, whatever it is that you speak about. And once they're aware, now you want to move in with coaching, consulting, and training over a period of years it takes to change people's behavior. That's the reality, not the fantasy. The fantasy is you give a 45-minute speech and people change. That does not happen. That's complete delusion. But a lot of people talk about that, and it's not right. But when you're building a business as a speaker, you don't want to just run around like a hamster on a wheel, running from baggage claim to baggage claim, chasing down, airports, and just running around. You want to lock in. You want to dig in. Do the keynote speech. Have a back end. Learn to sell the keynote. Learn to sell the training. Learn to sell the consulting. Learn to sell the coaching. Learn to sell yourself. Now you have a speaking business, not just a speaking career.